Welcome everyone. Thanks very much for coming. This is Laura. I'm the founder of Harriet Herbery, and this is my first webinar. Hopefully it will all go smoothly. If it doesn't and we experience any technical difficulties, I'll send details around, but yeah, fingers crossed. So this is the introduction. It's an overview of a workshop that I do quite regularly called Creating a Natural Medicine Kit. I run a range of different workshops around Australia, predominantly on the East Coast, for aromatherapy, subtle aromatherapy, and yeah, these creating natural medicine kits. So they're really fun, they're really interactive, and a lot of people have been wanting to come to them and haven't, which is why we're trialling the webinar series. So there's a couple of webinars coming up in the next few weeks after we've perfected these free small ones. So yeah, I'll share details of those at the end. How this will work, we'll start off with some slides and some information, and then at the end of this session, we will have a live Q&A. So get your questions ready. If we run out of time and can't answer them all, then what I'll do is take them all down and send answers to everybody by email following on from the webinar. So yeah, as I said, I'm Laura Bell, that's me there on the right. I'm the founder of Harriet Herbery. I started my training in aromatherapy in the late 1990s. I'm what is possibly referred to as a vintage aromatherapist. So in about 10 years, I'll be an antiquated one. I've also studied Western herbal medicine and naturopathy and have postgraduate qualifications in other areas as well. I'm a serial learner. I grew up in the United Kingdom with a beautiful family and an amazing grandma who passed down a lot of really amazing herbal knowledge to me and all the old wives' tales. And it's something quite precious to me. And I feel like a lot of this herbal folklore is being lost. So that's partly why I'm doing these, just so that, if people want to know how to create natural medicines in their gardens and for themselves and their families, that they should be able to. I also don't believe that finances should be a barrier to good health, which is why I really promote the things that you'll see throughout this video in terms of growing your own herbs and having your own garden and stuff. So we'll go through this. So as I said, it's an introduction that leads into the 3-hour webinars, and with those courses you get downloadable course materials as well. I'll go through some of them at the end of this, and you'll be able to download a few bits and pieces after the session as well. So here we go. So a lot of you will have come through to me from the Harriet Herbery Facebook page. If you haven't liked it, feel free to. It's facebook.com/Harriet Herbery. I also run a Facebook group, which is Harriet Herbery's Apothecary. So it's pretty much a bulk buy co-op style group. It started last year, and I started it in response to the amount of people paying exorbitant amounts of money for essential oils, when in fact for the last 20 years I've been buying 100% pure essential oils and certified organic oils for my aromatherapy practice from amazing, reputable and trusted places that other aromatherapists buy from as well. So I buy them in bulk, quite often in litre quantities, so therefore I'm then able to split them up and everybody gets a really good price on them. What I don't grow myself, I also buy certified organic herbs, and same deal, I sell those through the co-op as well. You're welcome to join that if you like. I can approve people on that following the session. I also do recipes and tips on there and do some little live sessions as well, just so that then everyone can learn to make their own salves or do little blends, learn about what particular oils or herbs might be useful for. So today or tonight, what we'll do is the benefits of a natural medicine kit, what this kit is not, what it might look like, and what have I got in my kit. In the extended workshops, we cover the essential oils, herbs, what to grow, how to grow them. We go through other useful inclusions to a kit, which we'll have a look at a little bit later. How to use which items for what. Using oils and herbs safely. I'm really big on this. There's some really wild information that goes around, particularly with respect to oils. Safety is paramount. Making an aromatherapy oil blend, making a poultice, making a syrup, and making a herbal oil infusion. They're just some of the things that we do at the workshops and in the extended webinars. So I've put here some of the benefits of a natural medicine kit. So it's a holistic approach to health using natural medicine, and it should make you more prepared for any emergency. In my view, and this is just my view, governments around the world are cracking down on natural medicine. I've seen that firsthand through courses being closed, vet fee help being removed in the last few months. So I really believe that now is the time that everybody needs to learn how to make themselves, how to treat themselves if they need to. I think that the last few decades in particular, society has become really reliant on doctors and the pharmaceutical industry. And I think there's a real paradigm shift and people are changing away from that again. So there's loads of benefits in having a natural medicine kit. For example, if the health system was down, what would you do? So if you've got a little bit of this knowledge, then you can help treat yourself. So as I've got here, many of the items you'll already have in your house. So garlic, ginger, bicarb soda, colloidal silver, there's a whole heap of stuff, cayenne pepper, your spice racks. Generally a good little place to start, apart from making your food taste fabulous. So you can travel easily with a natural medicine kit, depending on the size of it. You can keep some of these items in your bag, depending on the size of it. And the expiration date is generally pretty good as long as you're preserving all of your herbs and oils and storing them all properly. This is also why I promote having everything in your garden. Then you've got a sort of fresh pharmacy out the back of your house, no matter the size of it. So this kit is not a replacement for a first aid kit. You should have a first aid kit always anyway, with all of your normal bits and pieces like scissors and bandages. And always make sure that you've done relevant first aid training. This is not a replacement for first aid training. This is just a complementary piece. What could your natural medicine kit look like? So it could be a small bag. It might be a massive cupboard. In my room that I'm sitting in right now, it's an entire big room that's about 12 foot by 10 foot. But that's also because I've got an aromatherapy practice here. I know there's quite a few naturopaths and other health practitioners online now as well who probably have similar spaces to me. If you've just got a few things, if I needed to go urgently somewhere, as long as I have a couple of bits and pieces on me, then I'm good. So we'll have a look and see what those bits and pieces are. Here's a really gorgeous old-fashioned kit that I just love the look of, so I just thought I'd share that because it's so cute and pretty. So it's got a whole heap of different tinctures and herbs and oils and all sorts of magical things in it. And then we've got more modern ones like on the left there where you might have all your bits and pieces, and just another one that looks great on the right there. I thought the one on the right was really cool though because I like all of the herbs and things that are on the top half of that case. It's quite a nice storage way. Obviously if you're travelling around though, you're not going to want much glass like that. So padded bags are preferable. So in terms of herbs, we'll start off with herbs. Try and make sure that you get certified organic so that you don't have pesticides. They're easily found and easily grown. I always grow from seed and I always make sure that I get organic heirloom seeds. So they're GM free, they're safe, and it means that they'll keep seeding. A lot of the GM plants, in my experience, especially with fruits and vegetables, they stop seeding, which is not what you want. So there's a heap of different herbs, obviously, thousands. We don't have time to cover them all here, so I've picked just one that we'll go through, which is kind of like, it's one of my favourites. I've put here, if you've got a small space, you could just have a little area like this, where you just have a few different bits of herbs in it. And then obviously if you've got a big space, you can have a more glamorous, fabulous, witchy, medicinal herb garden that you can wander through. I've listed here some places where I get seeds in Australia. So we've got the Seed Collection, they're online. The Diggers Club, they've got a few locations around Victoria, Eden Seeds. There's a whole heap more online in Australia and some overseas. So it's very rare that I buy herbs from overseas, but there are some that I just cannot find here. So I do get them from overseas. There's great benefits to it. Look, there's more companies than that, but they're just some that I've put on. I found they germinate really well. They're good for beginner green thumbs. They're generally about $1 to $3 a packet, and they usually have free shipping, so that's pretty good. So there's obviously a myriad of benefits to growing your own herbs. So if they're all fresh, then you can just harvest them when they're ready. And things like aloe vera, if you've got aloe vera, that's always better fresh off a plant. The other important points to note here is that if shit did hit the fan, then you've got a pharmacy out there in your garden. So you also have to be extra careful when it comes to storing your herbs if you're in a situation like that. So if you don't prepare and store your medicinal herbs properly, it's not like you're losing a flavouring, like with your spices. It's potentially losing a year's worth of remedies, so you have to look after them all. And then obviously the next season, your plants will self-seed and you can continue to grow from your garden. So in terms of storing these precious seeds for next year's herbal pharmacy, and then you can barter and make remedies, and have garden expansion with all of your seeds then. So it's pretty fabulous. I've done a profile here on Calendula. This is my sort of Swiss Army herb. So Calendula is a pretty incredible herb. It's also known as pot marigold. It's got these beautiful little orange flowers here. It's super easy to grow. It does not take long from planting the seed to growing it, into a nice big space. A couple of months, you'll get big calendulas from it. So it's got, excuse me. So it's called Calendula officinalis, and it's part of the Asteraceae family. I'll just note now, there's quite a number of people who are allergic to plants from that family, like daisies and ragweeds are also part of that family. So just always be careful and mindful of that, especially if you're using it internally. There are also contraindications for pregnant and breastfeeding women with internal use of calendula. If you haven't, if you're not allergic and you're not pregnant or breastfeeding, then this is definitely your best herb. So it's anti-inflammatory, astringent, antiseptic, antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal. It detoxifies, heals wounds, mildly estrogenic, menstrual regulator, prevents hemorrhaging, relieves muscle spasms, and stimulates bile production. If there was one herb that I could only have, personally, I would have calendula. It also helps keep pests away. And in the garden, it's a really good companion plant for that reason. So it's perfect for dotting around in your medicinal herb garden because it'll keep all of the pests away from the other plants. In addition to the common uses that I've put here on the right, which I'll send to you afterwards, so it can help reduce fever. It can be really useful for ringworm. It's actually really good for dogs. So if you've got a really itchy dog, you can make a little calendula spray up and spray them. Generally, don't have any contraindications from that. Brilliant for bites, stings, diaper rash and infections, and you can use it as an eye rinse as well if you've got pink eye or any minor eye infections. Look, the list goes on with this herb. It's absolutely amazing. In the longer workshops where we have more time, I do go through about 10 to 15 herbs. Out of obviously the thousands that we've got. So we'll just keep adding to them. And I'm working with a few herbalists as well, so that we might get some more sort of meaty herb webinars coming up as well, I reckon. So herbal remedies, learn to grow them, learn to manufacture them, store them properly, and then, they can be used as tinctures, teas, salves, powders, washes, creams, and a whole heap more. The other things that we'll have in a natural medicine kit will be essential oils. So I've put a little bit here about that. So aromatherapy is the practice of using the natural oils extracted from the flowers, which quite often are some of the herbs that we use. So we're looking at the bark, stems, leaves, roots, or other parts of the plant. So that will help your overall physical well-being and psychological state. So generally, we would either inhale them or use them topically. They're the most common ways that they would be used. Some people use them internally under the guidance of a trained clinical aromatic medical professional. Sorry, a bit late. Yes, so there's thousands of different oils and different types of oils. Some cannot be used, so always do check. We do have ongoing aromatherapy and blending courses, and we'll learn more about them in the workshops, but I thought I'd give you here as well, similar to the herb, what is the Swiss Army knife of essential oils? And lavender. So lavender is absolutely amazing. So it heals burns, cuts, relieves insomnia, reduces stress. It's a really powerful antihistamine. It helps bug bites, bruises, sleep deprivation, inflammation, lice, sunburn, the list goes on. It's soothing to skin irritations, earache, and depression. So in terms of having one of these in your survival kit, I would in fact keep 2 bottles. I always have 2 bottles, and it's the one thing that I always have in my bag. And if I was going anywhere, I would have 2. I have a bug out bag and I have 2 bottles of that in there. I don't have 1 large bottle, I have 2 just in case something happens to the first oil. I'll just go back to this previous slide that I skipped. So yeah, with essential oils, so we can see them working on a physical and psychological level, and they can produce different reactions. So I just want to point out as well, sometimes herbs are better than oils. I say that despite being an aromatherapist. So 150 pounds of lavender are required for a 15 ml bottle of lavender. And if we're looking at 1 drop of peppermint oil, it's equivalent to around 26 cups of peppermint tea, or as I saw somebody say today, around 2 washing baskets of the leaves. So hefty amount just in 1 drop of peppermint oil. And you can get quite serious adverse reactions if you take them incorrectly. There's our lavender again. So when this is finished, I'll send through this to everybody or make it downloadable, so that then you can just get a bit more information on it. I've put this slide on here, just an extra lavender, just to say, so when I buy lavender, just always, and with any oil, make sure that it's 100% pure essential oil. Where possible, make sure it's certified organic. The lavender I buy is certified organic, and it's from the high altitude in the French Alpine regions. It's the very best, most amazing oil that you can get. It smells incredible. The chemical composition of it is just brilliant. So just be really wary where you're getting it from, in terms of having like the top-notch medicinal stuff. Here's some other oils that I would put in my kit. So I would have lemon. It's an antibacterial. It's amazing for cleaning, for the environment and yourself. And it's powerful, and it's totally known for its cleansing ability. It's really good for intestinal parasites, and it dissolves petrochemicals in the body. It's effective for colds and flu, helps digestive and liver work. It's good for gout. It's good for sore throats. It's a good disinfectant, and it's a good antiseptic. Peppermint, antibacterial and anti-inflammatory. Just remember that whole 1 drop to the 2 washing baskets. It's really good for nausea, no good for breastfeeding. So if you're breastfeeding, you won't want to use peppermint because it will slow down your milk production. It's good for digestive issues, allergies, menstrual problems, and it helps reduce fever, similar to, so lavender is really good for that as well. It's also amazing with lavender to help stop headaches. It's good for muscle aches. It increases alertness. Good for focus and oxygen absorption. So peppermint has got antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, as I said, and you can use it for shocks, colds, colic, and heartburn. Excuse me, I don't normally cough. I actually, ironically, got a virus last night, which I'm slowly killing with a bunch of these oils and some colloidal silver. So oregano is antibacterial. It's effective in treating bacterial infections and yeast infections. It relieves back and joint pain, inflammation, cold and flu, and it's really good for killing warts and skin tags. It's good for athlete's foot, and it's an effective cleanse for GI health. Now, Melaleuca, famous tea tree oil. Such a good oil. I should have put this up the top. That would probably be my second next to lavender. In fact, I'd potentially have 2 bottles of tea tree as well. So yeah, excellent for bites and infections. Similar to lavender, you don't need to dilute those 2 oils very much, the same as you would with other oils. So it can be used as a first aid ointment, which a lot of you probably already know. Useful for skin irritations, bug bites, athlete's foot, eczema, psoriasis, and it helps with your immune function and supports against throat and respiratory pathogens. Heliochrysum, I've got down there. It's amazing for pain, but it's also really good for bruisings and sprains and swelling, and it also can help stem bleeding. And I've got a few more oils. I would have myrrh. Myrrh is really good next to clove as well for teeth. So you can use myrrh and dilute it as a mouthwash. It's astringent, antiseptic, and amazing for pain. It's really good for the adrenals. And it's good for antiseptic needs. So in terms of swelling of cuts and wounds and bruises, and it can be applied on open wounds. Myrrh helps stimulate the immune system and blood circulation. And it also helps to promote tissue regeneration. It eases coughing and tonsillitis and other infections as well, and it's just an incredible oil. It does not need to be expensive. I have some, and look, it's expensive compared to the other oils, but 5 ml is, I think, around $25, $30 as opposed to $90 or $130 that I heard somebody got it for the other day. So it doesn't need to be madly expensive, and it is accessible. Clove. I'm sure everybody knows about clove oil. So if you've got really hardcore toothache, yeah, you can, quite often the dentist will pop a little bit of clove oil into that, or you can just chew on a clove bud. So it's got really strong antibiotic and analgesic properties, and it helps to relieve toothaches, headaches, and other pains. So you can also use clove to help draw out toxins and infections from the body, and it's also really amazing for nausea and constipation. I've put frankincense down here, which is one of my top favourite oils. It's a regenerative oil, and it enhances the effects of other essential oils, so it's really good in blends. It helps to reduce inflammation, relieves headaches, supports skin tissue recovery, and soothes hyperactivity. It's good for restlessness, and it facilitates clarity and focus of mind. So it's a really important essential oil in all manners of emergency, I think, in terms of its regenerative properties. The last oil that I've got here is lemongrass. This is the last on this list. We go through more in the other workshops, but I've had to kind of pull it in a bit for this. So lemongrass is really good for soothing sore and cramping muscles. It's amazing as a natural cleanser, and it warms the feet in winter. And it's a really effective bug repellent. So in terms of if you've got mozzies chasing after you and they don't like you, they don't care about me, but yeah, if they did, I'd be having lemongrass. It's a bit safer than citronella as well, and can be used for more things. I'll send this round afterwards, but this is just a small snippet of a big list that we do in the larger workshops. So I've put here, there's some possible treatments. There's a range of possible treatments that one could have for all these different ailments, but it's just to demonstrate that if you've got a minor burn, use some lavender oil on it. If you've got a minor burn, you don't have lavender, put a little bit of manuka honey on it. If it's closed. I had a really bad burn last year with some peppermint tea that fell onto my arm, and my clothes got stuck to my arm. So I got fresh aloe vera from the garden, put lavender oil and manuka honey on it, and it was amazing. You can also use plantain and slippery elm for those if you don't have anything else. In terms of cuts and scrapes, so we've got calendula as a topical use of the herb, and we've got lavender and tea tree oils. Insect bites, we've got lavender oil, but of course you could also use calendula or tea tree. As I said, these are not exhaustive lists. Bumps and bruises, I have a 3-year-old. I do not leave the house without a tub of arnica. I have the homeopathic arnica, and I also have an arnica salve. So if there's any bumps, you just smear that on, and it just amazingly reduces all the inflammation. Fractures, comfrey's incredible. Topically on that, I quite often make that up for people. I fractured my calcaneus a few years ago, and did a comfrey compress, and yeah, it healed up amazingly. The doctors couldn't even believe it. They thought I should have been in hospital. So yay, comfrey. In the wars, it used to be known as knit bone for its ability to knit the bones back together. Obviously, you've got a really hardcore green stick fracture or a big break, it might not be so useful, but yeah, it's a good herb. Colds and flus. Okay, this is what I'm doing at the moment. So I've had elderberries today and yesterday, and Ravensara, eucalyptus and fregonia diffusing with a couple of other oils as well. Really good for supporting cold and flu seasons. I've got online on my website, I have a really beautiful elderberry syrup recipe, so go and have a look at that afterwards if you like. That's really good for colds and flu. I always make sure I have half a kilo of elderberries at any one time, and I would, like, if you're serious about this, I would make sure that you always had a few 100 grams at least as well, just so that you've got it there ready for the syrup if you need it. I generally have syrup made up. It lasts for a couple of months in the fridge, and if you have got the flu, the last thing you can be bothered doing is making a syrup. So yeah, make it up beforehand. Bleeding, golden seal's amazing. Cayenne pepper's really good too, so it's quite handy if you can make up some capsules or get capsules of that. Carry that around in your bug-out bag or in your first aid kit. Calming, rescue remedy. It's a really good homeopathic, well, it's similar to a homeopathic, it's the bark flowers. That's brilliant for calming, especially with kids. Kids respond really well generally to homeopathics and any subtle medicine. Lavender to inhale or topical use, and chamomile as a herb, as a tea. So yeah, chamomile's beautiful as a tea. I think anybody would attest to that. And great if you're breastfeeding or want to give to a baby. I know loads of people who've done this. It's quite common in other cultures, calming colicky babies. Teething, chamomile herbs, and obviously homeopathics as well. Sore teeth and gums. So I've put clove buds here, clove oil, myrrh essential oil diluted as a mouthwash, and chamomile for mouth ulcers. So look, they're just a few. A lot of you will already have known this, and I'm sure that we can keep adding to this list. If anybody wants to, let's do it. We'll make up a fabulous, colourful list that everybody can have as a big chart. This is about a quarter of, or maybe 1/5 of the other one that I do have that would see in the longer version of the workshop. But there you go. Homeopathics. Definitely in my first aid kit. I know heaps of other people as well who have them. I've just stolen this picture of Ainsworth's website. I have this one, there's plenty of other ones that you can get, but it's got 42 different remedies in it. Amazing for colds, like just for everything, all of the different ailments that we've run through on the previous page. This little kit is really helpful. Ainsworths, in case you don't know, are the homeopaths to the royal family in England. We're very supportive of that. In the longer workshop, so we'll go through homeopathics a bit more, open wounds, bruises, a bit more into broken bones, strains and sprains, eye infections and eye injuries, bug bites and venom, what to do with that, and maybe even some snake bites, obviously depending on the snake. If you get bitten by a taipan, it can be not so good. Accidental poisoning, fungal infections of the skin. We'll go a bit further into headaches, aches and pains, fever, nausea, and intestinal cramping. Here are some other useful inclusions into your first aid kit, your natural medicine kit. If it's legal where you are, cannabis. Cannabis is really powerful, very natural, and in its natural form, it's probably more powerful, I would imagine, than in any synthetic or genetically modified form. In my natural medicine kit, I also have hydrogen peroxide. Really good for any deep wounds, can help prevent tetanus, as I understand it from doctor friends. Yes, it'll start bubbling up when the oxygen goes in. It's an incredible little bottle, and it's only about $3 or $4 from the chemist, so grab one of those. Bicarb soda, activated charcoal, great for poisoning, flatulence, and a whole range of other things, and good topically as well. Epsom salts, colloidal silver, internal and topical, absolutely amazing. It's like a natural antibiotic. I've put some other things down in here that you'd surely already have anyway, so bandages and hardware, hot water bottles, ice packs, sodium ascorbate. I would always have some of that for if I'm travelling or just as backup in case I needed extra vitamin C. Olive leaf extract for similar immune boosting properties, probiotics, rescue remedy, and the bark flowers. I think that's really important. I think that if we think of a natural medicine first aid kit, that people always think of cuts or bruises or whatever, but in fact our mental health is really important as well. And in terms of shock or anything else that might happen, you can't go past bark flowers. Honey if you're not vegan, but if you take other medicine, then sure you won't mind having honey in an emergency. I've been vegan for 37 years, but there's medicinal uses for honey that I would definitely use if needed rather than traditional pharmaceutical medication. And vodka, so obviously you can clean wounds and do all sorts of fabulous things with vodka, and have a little drink of it if you need to. That will help stop shock too. In a minute, we will stop for questions and answers. I'm just going to flick through a few other things that you'll get after here. These are actually, they look really nice when they're all printed, but I've done all of these up for a range of workshops. So they're the essential oil dilution rates, just so that when you're making dilutions, always check the oil first that you're using. But yeah, generally if you want to do a 1 or 2% dilution, 1 you'd do for babies or the elderly, 2 for your normal adult, 3 for anything that's, needing like if you've got a really bad neck pain or something. So you'll do a stronger dilution for that for an adult. Breastfeeding and pregnancy would be flipping back to 1% again, depending on the oils. And yeah, we go through that more in other workshops, and we just don't have time to do all that today. What I have done though is I've included some of my safety cards that I hand out. This is all based on Robert Tisserand and Young in their Essential Oil Safety book. That's who I follow as an aromatherapist in terms of safety for the last 20 years. So I've put a list together of potential convulsants. So if you are prone to epileptic seizures or anything, do not use any of these. Or even if you're not prone to them, you might if you have too many of these. This is in oil format, not in herbs. Pregnant or breastfeeding, here's some of the oils. There's a ton more, but these are your sort of more popular ones that you might have available but just don't use them. And then we've got babies and young children. So look, to be honest, until a baby is 6 months, I wouldn't use any oils anyway. I never really do. From 6 months onwards, there's only really a few oils, and then from the age of 2, they can start using have a bit more oils. Hydrosols are your best bet for small children, and they don't need a lot, so less is more. It's really fun studying essential oils though, so if you do want to know more, come along. Phototoxic oils. So these are oils that if you put on and you go into even the sunlight, you may blister up and be looking to put some calendula on it. You'll need more than calendula. Yeah, so don't put any of these on and go into the sun, and just try not to go into tanning beds anyway. Get fake tan if you need to. Oils and orifices. So do not put essential oils in or around the eyes, the ears, or other orifices. I have heard some really weird stories lately of women in America who are making up oil sprays and spraying it into their children's eyes in the hope of their children's eyesight getting better. Crazy, don't do it. If you do get any oil in your eye, wash your hands with soap and water, put some carrier oil on a paper towel, and then just gently wipe your eye and just keep repeating that and flush it with saline if you need to. Saline, I need to pop that into your other bits and pieces for your kid. Always have saline. We've already had that one. Yeah, so there's a range of those safety cards anyway. I'm big on safety, as I've said. Hopefully you'll have taken a little bit away from this today. We'll flip over in a minute to a Q&A. And yeah, we've got more upcoming workshops and webinars. I'm probably less awkward with a workshop than a webinar. It's a bit weird sitting here talking to a computer. I know that you're all there. I'm probably a more interactive person. Anyway, it's been fun. Feel free to go online onto the Facebook page. Feel free to sign up to the website, and then you can be alerted to any more information sessions that I do here or with other people. Yeah, feel free to join the group too. So basically the more people we have in it, the better buying power we have, and the cheaper everything gets. So the prices are already going down, which is cool, now that we've got some more members. What else? Yes, so as I said before, there's a whole bunch of you that are naturopaths and other health professionals in here. So I'm actually working with a lot more other health modalities at the moment, in fact, even including a holistic doctor. Yeah, so if you do want to do any collaborations or anything, get in touch, especially I know there's a bunch of you tonight from an online preppers group. So it might be good to do some work together and see what we might be able to do for that. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks very much for coming, and I'll look forward to answering your questions.